Hi students, here I am with the lecture number 1 on moving charges and magnetism. So in this lecture we will learn about the Oersted experiment. The experiment which tells about the magnetic field and explanation of Oersted experiment and Ampere's swimming rule which tells about the direction of the magnetic field and also about the concept of magnetic field, magnetic force on a charge moving in a magnetic field, and also magnetic force on a current carrying conductor. So these are the concepts to be learned today. So we'll move on to this experiment called Oersted experiment. This is a simple experiment. Dear students, please listen. If you just imagine a current carrying wire and if you keep a needle, magnetic needle surrounding the current carrying wire, the needle will undergo deflection. So if there is a current carrying wire and a magnetic needle is kept in the vicinity, that needle will undergo deflection, which clearly proves that a current carrying conductor produces the magnetic field. Suppose if the current flow in the wire stops, the deflection produced by the needle also stops, which means very clearly that as long as the current flows in a wire, so long there will be a deflection, telling that there is a magnetic field surrounding. So another step forward, suppose say as in the figure 1, the current is flowing in the wire from A to B. Imagine a magnetic needle kept below that wire. The north pole of the magnetic needle kept below the wire will deflect towards the left side of the wire, towards its west side. And similarly, if the current flows, as in the second diagram, if the current flows from B to A and the magnetic needle, the north pole of the magnetic needle kept below the wire will deflect towards right side, towards the east side. So only to tell you that the needle will undergo deflection if the current flows in a wire. So therefore this is known as magnetic effect of electric current. So when a current flows in a wire, a magnetic field is produced in the region surrounding the wire, surrounding the conductor. So magnetic effect of electric current. And the direction I will tell you again. Suppose say if you have a conductor, this is a conductor and the current is going from say A to B. You have kept a magnetic needle below. So if you have kept a magnetic needle below, that magnetic needle, north pole of the magnetic needle will deflect towards the left side. So if you have a wire A to B, if the current flows from A to B, a needle kept below, a magnetic needle, north pole of the magnetic needle kept below the wire will deflect towards the left side of the wire, towards the left side of the wire. If the current flows from B to a magnetic needle will deflect towards the right side, So that is to show the experiment, to prove the magnetic effect or magnetic field is produced due to the current flow in a conductor. When the current flows in a conductor, magnetic field is produced in the region surrounding the conductor. That's it, very simple. So moving further, this rule, Ampere's swimming rule. Just imagine a person swimming along the wire in the direction of the current. Just imagine a person swimming along the wire in the direction of the current. A needle, again a magnetic needle kept below that person who is swimming in the direction of the current, that needle kept below him will deflect towards his left. Suppose if you keep the needle above him, will deflect towards his right. Very simple. A magnetic needle kept below the person who is swimming in the direction of the current will deflect towards his left. This is Ampere's swimming rule, which gives the direction of the magnetic field. I repeat again, please listen. 1. Imagine a person swimming in the direction of the current. A magnetic needle is kept below him. The magnetic needle kept below him will deflect towards his left. A magnetic needle kept below him will deflect towards his left. Suppose if the magnetic needle is kept above him, will deflect towards his right. Very simple. So this is Ampere's swimming rule, which clearly tells about the direction of the magnetic field. There are several other rules also. Just for the time being, you learn this. See, as I told you, suppose if you have a conductor carrying current, the space around this conductor carrying current where the magnetic effects can be experienced. That means a magnetic field is produced. So that space we call it as a magnetic field. What is magnetic field? It is the space surrounding a magnet, or it is the space surrounding a current carrying wire. Because current carrying wire produces magnetic field. Magnet also produces magnetic field. So that is called magnetic field. These lines, if you observe the cursor, these parallel equidistant lines represents the uniform magnetic field. Parallel equidistant lines represents the uniform magnetic field, and this cross represents, this into mark represents the magnetic field perpendicular to the plane of the paper and inwards. Please understand, it represents the magnetic field perpendicular to the plane and inwards. The dots here represents the magnetic field acting perpendicular to the plane of the paper and outwards. Perpendicular, normal to the plane of the paper and outwards. And cross represents the magnetic field perpendicular and inwards. Perpendicular to the plane and inwards. This one, dots represent the magnetic field acting perpendicular to the plane and outwards. This is how you represent the magnetic field. The direction is also important. Now, coming to this concept, very important, and even for the next topics also, this concept is very important. Please listen properly. Just imagine a positive charge. Right now it is at the origin. A positive charge is at the origin, plus Q. And see that you have applied the electric field along, say, y-axis. You have applied electric field along y-axis. And you have applied the magnetic field along z-axis. You have applied the magnetic field along z-axis. Now, see that you allow the charge to move with a velocity v along x-axis. So therefore, very simple. Consider a charge, positive charge plus Q, moving in the positive x direction with a velocity v. A magnetic field is applied along the z-axis. An electric field is applied along the y-axis. So, because there is a magnetic field and also there is an electric field, the charge will experience two forces. One, it experiences the electric force. Second one, it experiences the magnetic force also. First, let us learn about the magnetic force the charge will experience. See that a magnetic force, a moving charge experiences, it also experiences electric force. We will learn that later. First, magnetic force. Now, a charge Q is moving with a velocity v along this positive x-axis, and you have applied the magnetic field along the z-axis, which is perpendicular to x-axis and also y-axis, no doubt. That magnetic Lorentz force acting on the charge Q is given by, that force is given by Fm is equal to Q into V cross B. You should know what is V cross B. That is the cross product of the two vectors. Here q represents the charge and v represents the velocity of the charge. B represents the magnetic field strength, the magnetic field strength. So if you just elaborate that, you know what is A cross B. A cross B is equal to AB sin theta. A cross B is equal to AB sin theta. Here V cross B will be equal to VB sin theta. Therefore, the equation becomes magnetic force is equal to Q into V into B sin theta, where theta is the angle between B and V. Theta is the angle between B and V. So anyhow, this is the magnetic Lorentz force acting on a charge moving in a magnetic field. And similarly, the electric force acting on the charge, you know that in electrostatics we have learnt that a positive charge or any charge will experience the force in the electric field. So here we also have electric field applied. The electric field is applied along, say, positive y-axis. If the electric field is applied along positive y-axis, the charge will experience the force in the same direction, because a positive charge experiences the force in the direction of the electric field. So therefore, a force is experienced by a positive charge, and that force experienced is along the positive y-axis, and that force you call it as Fe. So the electric force on the charge is given by Fe is equal to Q into E. You know this, Q into E. So that means a charge moving in a combined electric and magnetic field will experience two forces. One, the magnetic force, the other one, electric force. Now to understand the direction of that magnetic force, no doubt this electric force, the direction of the electric force, because the charge is positive, the direction of the electric force is along the electric field, in the direction of the electric field, because a positive charge will experience the force in the direction of the electric field. You know that very clearly. But when it comes to the direction of the magnetic force, notice here the direction, because it is the cross product, Fm is equal to Q into V cross B. The direction of, remember I am telling you about the direction of the magnetic force. The direction of the magnetic force experienced by the charged particle, positively charged particle, is given by the cross product. So therefore this Fm will be perpendicular to both velocity vector and also the magnetic field vector. Perpendicular to both velocity vector and magnetic field vector, that is V cross B. So V is along, say this one, V is along x-axis and B is along z-axis. So therefore the force will be along negative y-axis. Force will be along negative y-axis, right hand, V cross B. Always you have to have the right hand and rotate your four fingers of the right hand from velocity vector to the magnetic field. Velocity is along positive x-axis and magnetic field is along positive z-axis, and along the negative z-axis, negative y-axis, the force will act, that is Fm. See that Fm will act along the negative y-axis, because this is V. Along x-axis you have got V, and this is z-axis you have got magnetic field, and perpendicular to both velocity and magnetic field, that is downwards. Downwards means opposite to y-axis, positive y-axis, the magnetic force will act on it. So very clear, dear students, the magnitude of the magnetic force acting on a moving charge is given by F is equal to Q V B sin theta. F is equal to Q V B sin theta, because Q into V cross B, and the direction of the magnetic force is perpendicular to both V and B, is perpendicular to the plane containing V and B, is perpendicular to the plane containing both V and B. So V and B, V is along, say, x-axis, B is along z-axis, and you just complete the plane, perpendicular to that will be the force, magnetic force. So that is the magnetic force. Now notice that further, the total force acting on the charged particle is given by the electric force plus magnetic force. Electric force is Q into E, magnetic force is Q into V cross B. Taking Q common, we will get E plus V cross B. E represents the electric field intensity, V is the velocity, B is the magnetic field, and F is the net force acting on the charge. This net force or the total force experienced by the charge moving in the combined field, electric and magnetic field, both the fields, that is called Lorentz force. Lorentz. So magnetic Lorentz force or just Lorentz force. What do you mean by Lorentz force? Lorentz force is the total force, net force experienced by the charged particle moving in electric and magnetic fields, when both the fields are existing. This is the magnetic force. Notice, dear students, as I told you, F is equal to QVB sin theta. F is proportional to charge, F is proportional to velocity, F is proportional to B, the magnetic field, and F is also proportional to theta, where theta is the angle between V and B. Remember, the magnitude of the force is proportional to charge, magnitude of the charge, magnetic field, and also V sin theta, or V and theta if you can write. So, and that is the magnitude. F is equal to QVB sin theta. This is known as magnetic Lorentz force. Magnetic Lorentz force. If you just tell only Lorentz, it includes electric and magnetic force, and here it is magnetic Lorentz force. Now, the direction of this force is perpendicular to both the direction of the magnetic field and the velocity. So, both. I told you very clearly. So, important points about the magnetic force. Suppose, imagine a charged particle is moving perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. Then it experiences maximum force because F is equal to what? QVB sin theta. Here F is equal to QVB sin theta. Since theta is equal to 90 degrees, sin 90 is 1, and therefore it experiences maximum force. So what happens? A charge moving perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field will experience the maximum force. Okay. So the next important point, suppose the same charge, imagine the same charge is moving parallel to the magnetic field. If it is moving parallel to the magnetic field, now the velocity vector and the magnetic field makes an angle theta which is equal to 0. Theta is equal to 0, sin 0 is 0, therefore force is 0. And even if the charge is moving anti-parallel to the magnetic field, anti-parallel means moving in the direction exactly opposite to the direction of the magnetic field. So here in this case, velocity and magnetic field are opposite, therefore theta is 180. Sin 180 is again 0, therefore the force is 0. So remember, if a charge is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field, it will experience maximum force. If a charge is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field, it will experience the maximum magnetic force, and that is given by QVB. Suppose if the charge is moving parallel or anti-parallel to the magnetic field, theta becomes 0 or 180, and therefore it will experience 0 force. The force becomes minimum force, that itself is 0. And again, if the velocity is 0, that means if the charge is not moving, if it is at stationary, if it is at rest. If the charge is at rest, if the charge is not moving, charge is at rest. If the charge is not moving, if it is stationary, then velocity is equal to 0, therefore it will not experience any force. If it has to experience any force, please remember any magnetic force I am telling, Lorentz force, magnetic Lorentz force, a charge must be moving. A static charge in a magnetic field does not experience the force. Second one, next point. If a charge is 0, what do you mean by if a charge is 0? For example, if you keep a neutron in a magnetic field, a neutron kept in a magnetic field will not experience any magnetic force because its charge is 0. So therefore, remember there are 4 cases where the force becomes 0. Case number 1, if the charged particle is moving parallel to the magnetic field, force is 0. If the charged particle is moving opposite to the magnetic field, again force is 0. That means when theta is 0, force is 0. When theta is 180, force is 0. And again, if the charged particle is not moving at all, if it is at rest, if it is stationary, if it is static, then again it won't experience any force. If the charged particle is at rest, it will not experience any force. And if the charge on the particle is 0, if the charge on the net charge or the total charge on the particle is 0, then that particle also will not experience any force. For example, neutron cannot experience any force. A neutron kept in a magnetic field cannot experience any force. A proton will experience, electron will experience, but not the neutron. So this is what all important points related to this one. Now, definition of Tesla. Here Tesla actually is the unit of magnetic field. F is equal to qvb sin theta. Make q 1 coulomb, velocity 1 meter per second, and theta is equal to 90. When I say theta is equal to 90, just understand that theta 90 means the charge is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field. Velocity and magnetic field both are perpendicular to each other. Charge is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field. So theta is 90 and force is 1 Newton. Give all these conditions. Condition number 1, charge is 1 coulomb. Second condition, velocity is 1 meter per second. Third condition, the angle made by the velocity and the magnetic field is 90 degrees. Fourth condition, force experienced is 1 Newton. If you make all these things unit 1, 1, 1, 1, because sin 90, sin theta, sin 90 is 1 again, then B also obviously should be equal to 1. See, observe dear students, F you are making 1, Q is 1, V is 1, and theta, sin theta is also made 1, then B should be equal to 1 only, that's it. So that means 1 Tesla is defined as the strength of that magnetic field in which a charge of 1 coulomb, moving perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. Moving perpendicular means theta is 90. Moving perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field experiences a force of 1 Newton in a direction perpendicular to both the direction of motion of the charged particle and to the direction of the magnetic field. That means this force is perpendicular to both magnetic field and velocity. Force if 1 Newton is this 1 Newton force is there, this force is acting perpendicular to both velocity and magnetic field. Here Gauss is the CGS unit, and 1 Gauss is equal to 10 to the power minus 4 Tesla. Remember this. This is just a converting factor from CGS to SI system. Tesla is the SI unit of magnetic field. I hope you are getting the things. We'll proceed further. See, dimensions of B. What is B? According to the equation, B is equal to F divided by QV sin theta. If you want dimensions, F divided by Q into V, theta, sin theta is dimensionless. Force, mLt to the power minus 2, charge is at, and velocity is lt minus 1. Therefore, you will get m a to the power minus 1, because L and L goes, and t to the power minus 2. Here t and t to the power minus 1 in the denominator will get cancelled. So it is ma minus 1 t to the power minus 2. These are the dimensions of the magnetic field. Remember, magnetic field is a vector quantity. It has got both magnitude and direction. Now, this concept is also very important. Many a times this question will be asked for 3 marks. Derive the force on a current carrying conductor kept in a magnetic field. So you have a conductor carrying current, and it is also kept in an external magnetic field. So here these lines represents the magnetic field. The lines represent the magnetic field. And here is a conductor XY. It is carrying the current I, and the length of the conductor is L. It is making an angle theta with the magnetic field, external magnetic field, theta with the external magnetic field. So this is the introduction for this one. Remember very clearly, XY is a conductor kept in a uniform magnetic field at an angle theta. XY carries a current I, it is of length L. So So if I want to tell this, consider a conductor of length L carrying a current I kept in a uniform magnetic field B at an angle theta. This is the introduction. I repeat again, consider a conductor of length L carrying the current I kept in a uniform magnetic field of intensity B at an angle theta as shown in the diagram. That's what you are supposed to write. So you know the clear meaning of all the terms. Now notice this one, a current carrying conductor. As we know, a current carrying conductor produces the magnetic field. Here these lines represents the different magnetic field, applied magnetic field. These are the applied magnetic field. In addition to this applied magnetic field, this conductor also produces some other magnetic field because the current is going in a conductor. The current is going in a conductor. Because the current is flowing in a conductor, you know that current carrying conductor produces magnetic field. So that magnetic field is there, as well external applied uniform magnetic field is also there. Because of these two magnetic fields, the conductor will experience force. Please remember, dear students, please remember, a conductor is carrying the current. A conductor carrying current produces the magnetic field according to Oersted. A conductor carrying current produces what? Magnetic field. And this conductor carrying current is also kept in the external magnetic field. So the magnetic field produced by the conductor and external magnetic field both will interact, and therefore the conductor will experience the force, and that force we call it as magnetic force on a conductor carrying current. Magnetic force on a charge, you know. The magnetic force on a charge moving in a magnetic field, you know, that is F is equal to Q V B sin theta. Similarly, a conductor carrying current also will experience the force. Now, moving further, same conductor, everything is same. Now, just notice this. Consider a conductor whose cross section is A and length is L. Area of cross section is A. A is the area of cross section. Length of the conductor is L. Now, again, let the free electrons be n per unit volume. N represents the number of free electrons per unit volume, which is known as free electron density. You have learned that in current electricity. Number of free electrons per unit volume, n. So n represents the number of electrons per unit volume. Next, the total number of mobile charge carriers, that is the total number of conduction electrons, is equal to n into AL, because A is the area, cross sectional area, L is the length, AL represents the volume, and n represents the number of electrons per unit volume into volume. Number of electrons per unit volume into volume of the conductor represents the total number of, total number of conduction electrons, total number of free electrons, total number of charge carriers present in that conductor. So n represents the number of free electrons per unit volume, AL represents the volume of the conductor, NaL represents the total number of charge carriers, the total number of electrons, free electrons, conduction electrons present in the conductor, and NaL into Q. See that this NaL represents total number of charge carriers, into Q represents total charge corresponding to free electrons, total charge corresponding to conduction electrons, and that is equal to NaLQ. And each charge carrier is moving with a drift velocity Vd, because you know that in a conductor the electrons slowly drift. Under the application of the electric field, they slowly drift, and the drift velocity, say, is Vd. So from the previous concept, we have learned that F is equal to Q into V cross B, In the place of Q, I have not taken only one charge, I have taken all the charges. That means force experienced by all the charges present in the conductor. So all the charge NaLQ represents total charge present in the conductor, total charge corresponding to the free electrons. Vd, the drift velocity, B, the magnetic field. So this is the equation for the force. Now we know that Vd, the drift velocity, is equal to L divided by T, where L is the length of the conductor, T is the time taken by the electron to move from one end of the conductor to the other end of the conductor, because from here to here the length is L and let the time taken be T, so L by T. Substitute for drift velocity, and now equation 1 becomes F is equal to NALQ. I have written as it is. In the place of drift velocity, just write L divided by T, because velocity is displacement by time, and therefore length of the conductor divided by time into B, cross B it is actually. Now this T, you just take it outside. T, take it outside, you will now get NAQ L by T into L cross B. L, this T you take it outside. L by T, distance traveled divided by time, is nothing but what? Distance by time is nothing but drift velocity. So now notice this, N, A, Q, L by T is nothing but drift velocity. Here we have written L by T is what? Drift velocity. So drift velocity into L cross B. L cross B. So N, A, Q, V, D into L cross B. So I is equal to, in the third chapter we have learnt, I is equal to N A E V D, E for electron. Here generally charge, so therefore we write NAQVD, that is the expression for current. So therefore you can replace NAQVD by current. I is equal to NAEVD, you know that. Expression for current in terms of drift velocity, you know that. So I is equal to NAQVD. This is for generally for any charge. So what is that you can write? F is equal to I, in the place of NAQVD you can write what? I into L cross B. I into L cross B. L is the length of the conductor and the direction of L is in the direction of the current. If the current is flowing from X to Y, length of the conductor is along L. So F is equal to I into L cross B, and ILB sin theta. If you expand this, you will get F is equal to ILB sin theta, because L cross B is LB sin theta. This is the force experienced by a conductor carrying current in a magnetic field. Now note, the force is maximum if theta is 90, which means the conductor and the magnetic field both are at right angles to each other. The conductor and the magnetic field both are at right angles to each other, then the force experienced is maximum. No doubt force depends on I, L, B and theta. F is minimum when the force is minimum if theta is equal to 0 or 180. If theta is 0, it means that the conductor is kept parallel to the magnetic field. If theta is equal to 180, it means that the conductor is kept anti-parallel to the magnetic field. So in that cases, the force will be equal to 0. So force is maximum when theta is 90, that is when the conductor is kept perpendicular to the magnetic field. If it is kept parallel or anti-parallel to the magnetic field, force experience will be equal to 0. So that is one thing. Next, see that Fleming's left hand rule. According to this Fleming's left hand rule, stretch the first 3 fingers of the left hand. Stretch the first 3 fingers of the left hand such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other. Stretch the first 3 fingers of the left hand such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other. Here, notice that the forefinger or the pointer finger represents the direction of the magnetic field. Forefinger represents the direction of the magnetic field. The middle finger represents the direction of the current, and the thumb represents the direction of the force. So remember this, Fleming's left hand rule. Fleming's left hand rule. Stretch the first 3 fingers of your left hand. Stretch the first 3 fingers of your left hand such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other. They are perpendicular to each other. Forefinger, pointer finger, forefinger represents the direction of the magnetic field. The middle finger, central finger represents the direction of current, direction of the current, and the thumb represents the direction of the force. Okay, so that is force, magnetic field and current. Force, magnetic field, current. Force, magnetic field, current. Force, magnetic field, current. Father, mother, child. Force, magnetic field, current. Father, mother, then comes child. Okay, perhaps students, these are the topics that we were supposed to learn for this session. I'll come up with a few more topics in the next session. Until then, have a nice day. Bye.